Welcome to the deep dive. I'm here ready to explore the depths of information with you.
And I'm here to help us navigate through it all, pointing out what's really key.
Okay, so today we're focusing on something pretty fundamental, our daily routines,
Mm-hmm.
specifically those common English verbs we use all the time to talk about them.
Right. And our source is actually a podcast script for English learners,
Yeah.
which gives us a nice, clear starting point.
Exactly. So the mission today is not just defining these verbs, but really digging into how they work in like normal conversation.
Yeah, we want to give you a better feel for this essential vocabulary. Could be useful if you're learning English, or honestly, just if you're curious about how we talk about our days.
Okay, let's dive in. First up, the source gives us wake up.
Wake up. Pronounced wake up. Pretty straightforward, right? Stopping sleep in the morning?
Yeah, but what's interesting are the examples. I wake up at 6 a.m. every day, and she wakes up early to go jogging.
See? Right away, it's linked to time.
Mhm.
At 6 a.m., super specific.
Or early, which is a bit vaguer, but still positions it.
Definitely. It anchors the start of the day.
Yep.
Makes you think about how focused we are on when things begin.
It really does. Okay, next verb, go. G-O-H.
Ah, go. Super common. Just moving from A to B, basically.
The examples are, I go to school by bus, she goes to work every day, and we go to the park on Sundays.
What stands out there?
Well, the word to, right? Go to school, go to work, go to the park, always seems to pop up with the destination.
Exactly. That little preposition to is doing heavy lifting, showing direction.
Hmm.
And, go hooks up with other words too, like go home, go out, go to bed. Each one adds a different flavor to the routine.
Good point. Those combinations paint a bigger picture.
Okay, number 3, work. W-U-R-K.
Doing a job, a task. Usually, for money.
And the examples show different angles. I work from home, that's location.
Right. Or he works in an office, another location.
And she works as a teacher, that's the type of work. So just that one verb, work, can tell us the action, the where, and the what. Pretty efficient.
It is. Okay, then we have study. S-T-U-H-D. Learning about something. Reading.
And again, look at the examples. I study English every evening, subject and time.
They study math at school. Subject, location.
He's studying for his exam. That gives the purpose, the why.
Yeah, it needs that object, doesn't it? Unlike go, maybe.
Yeah,
Study feels more focused,
Hmm.
intentional.
Okay, next. Eat. E-E-T.
Can't get much more basic than that. Putting food in your mouth.
Ah, right. Examples. I eat lunch at 12 p.m. She eats breakfast in the morning. We eat dinner together as a family.
So it's often tied to specific meals, isn't it? Breakfast, lunch, dinner. These are like punctuation marks in the day.
Definitely. Big markers.
Yeah.
And sometimes social things, like eating together.
Absolutely. Okay, moving on to sleep. S-L-E-E-P.
The state of rest, eyes closed.
Examples. I sleep at night, general time. He sleeps for 8 hours. That's duration. And they sleep in on weekends. Ooh, I like that one. A change from the usual routine.
Me too. And the source also mentions go to sleep, the act of starting to sleep.
Right, that's interesting. We have the state, sleep, and the action of getting there, go to sleep. Shows how we think about it, maybe.
Could be. Okay, last one for this section. Rest, R-E-S-T.
Relaxing, taking a break, doing nothing for a bit.
Examples. I rest on Sunday, specific day. She rests after work, a time relative to another activity.
And he's resting because he's tired, gives the reason.
Yeah, rest feels a bit more active than just doing nothing. It's like an intentional pause.
Yeah, deliberate, like recharging the batteries.
Exactly. It points to that cycle,
Right.
Activity, then recovery. Work, then rest.
Okay, so let's see how these verbs actually string together. The source gives us a play-by-play of a typical day.
Right, a narrative. So picture this. It starts, wakes up, 6:30 a.m.
Okay.
Then, the usual.
Mm-hmm.
Goes to the bathroom, brushes teeth. Kind of automatic stuff.
Mm-hmm. The essentials.
Then goes to the kitchen, makes breakfast. Cereal, coffee. See? We've already used wake up, go, make, which implies eating.
Right, several verbs, already just getting started.
Then it's off to work. Goes to work 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Standard workday.
And lunch.
Eats lunch with colleagues during a break. So there's that social bit, again, even at work.
Okay, typical 9 to 5, basically. What about after work?
Goes home,
Mm-hmm.
rests for a while, that intentional pause we talked about.
Ah, the recharge.
Then studies English for an hour, fitting in personal goals.
Nice.
And the day wraps up with eating dinner, and then goes to sleep around 10 p.m.
That paints a really clear picture. You can almost see the day laid out using just those core verbs.
Totally. And then to contrast that with the weekend.
Right. How does that change?
Well, wakes up later, maybe 8 a.m., doesn't go to work, obviously, more time to rest,
Makes sense.
maybe goes out with friends. So same verbs go,
Mm.
rest, but used differently,
Mm.
less structure.
What about studying?
Still might study English, but maybe not as long. And eating is more flexible, whatever, whenever, no strict schedule.
So it really shows how these same verbs adapt, doesn't it? The core actions are there, but the timing, the purpose, it shifts.
Exactly. Weekday rhythm versus weekend flow.
Now, the source also had a bit of dialogue, right, to show this in action.
Yeah, a little exchange, really useful for seeing the natural back and forth.
So, like, someone asks, what time do you wake up? Simple, direct.
And the answer is usually a specific time. That anchor again.
Then it builds, like, do you go to school after that? Or what do you do after waking up, following the sequence?
Precisely. Or asking about work. Do you work too? Or study habits. What about you? Do you study?
And food always comes up. What do you eat for breakfast? People love talking about food.
Don't we, though? And sleep, too. When do you sleep? Even weekends. And on weekends, I rest a lot. Do you rest on weekends?
It's amazing how these simple verbs form the scaffolding for sharing our lives, right? Understanding someone else's day.
It really is. It's the language of our everyday existence, boiled down.
Okay, so let's make this practical. For you listening right now, think about your day, your routine.
Yeah, use these verbs we've been hammering on. Wake up, go, work, study, eat, sleep, rest.
A good exercise, the source suggests, is writing down maybe 5 sentences about your day.
You can use prompts like, what time do you wake up?
Where do you usually go? In the morning or later?
What do you work on? Or study?
What do you eat? For breakfast, lunch, dinner.
When do you usually sleep? And how do you rest? What does resting look like for you?
And here's a key step. Try saying those sentences out loud.
Oh, definitely. Hearing yourself use the words really cements them. Makes them feel more natural, more yours.
All right, so let's do a quick wrap up. We've covered 7 really core English verbs for daily routines.
Wake up, go, work, study, eat, sleep, and rest. The building blocks.
And understanding how they work with time stuff, prepositions like to, and just the general flow of a day, it's super helpful.
For sure. Whether you're actively learning English or just want to be more aware of how language shapes our view of time and activity.
If you want to learn more, you could look for other resources specifically about, describing daily activities. There's loads out there.
And like our source script mentioned, if you hit words you don't know, look them up. Building vocabulary is always ongoing.
Always.
But the main thing, practice. Honestly, use these verbs. Talk about your day. Write about it. That's how they stick.
Couldn't agree more. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the verbs of daily life.
Yeah, we hope you found it useful, maybe even made you think a bit about your own routine and how you talk about it.
We really appreciate you tuning in. If you liked this, maybe leave us a rating or a review and subscribe so you don't miss the next one.
It helps others find us too. Thanks again for listening.
Until our next deep dive, take care.